It's December something right now, and the year's winding down. We're on our fourth attempt at doing this. Is that right?
I think it's the third.
Third. All right.
Third, something like that.
Damn. So what's been going on? How you been? What's up? What's new?
Nothing new. Just I actually started working on a new website a little bit, trying to rewrite the framework to the current website, clean it up, get it modernized, and running the way it should be again, because the one that's up now was kind of it's missing a few elements, like the navigation isn't there and stuff. I just over time kind of got too busy to get back to it, but I've been trying to dial it back in the last couple of days on a back end setup, and it's looking good so far. I just got to make sure that I can find enough time to keep drilling away at it.
Yeah. So what is it that you're looking at? Are you looking at code? Are you setting up a database?
I mean, right now what I did was I basically started up like a blank theme, carried over because I had like a framework that I've recycled for years now. Like I had like the version 1. This would be like the 5th version of the RideBMX website that I'm working on now. So the code's kind of just progressed as it's going along, and WordPress has made like core changes and stuff like that. So right now I'm just trying to get it up to speed, because they released Gutenberg a while ago, which is like that was like a long awaited feature.
Yeah.
And now they have like, I think like on the back end there's like lazy loading images are now loaded into your website automatically and stuff like that to save time. But I mean, there's a lot that I have to like look at to see what still works from the previous code, what doesn't. So I've been carrying over mostly just the HTML elements, and then writing in a little styles that are just general for basically between mobile and desktop, which I mean at this point it's like, why bother writing for desktop anymore?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a lot when you're trying to take into consideration all this factors with screen sizes and everything is radically different as far as browsers go. And for years everybody hated Internet Explorer as programmers and stuff like that. Now they just like changed it to Microsoft Edge, but it's the same piece of garbage. Shiny new name on it.
Yeah. Damn. So you're plugging away, dialing in the website. Do you still have any copies of the magazine left?
Yeah, we have. It's fizzling down to the end now. Like we just a little Cyber Monday, Black Friday thing, and we sold a bunch then. And then I got contacted by a distributor from France that wanted a couple copies of it, and apparently he must have been in the area, and he went to Caddy Woods and Tosh, and I guess J-Bone maybe put them on to us or something like that, and he reached out and grabbed a couple copies. So those just landed in his hands, I think yesterday or the day before. But it was actually pretty speedy, coming from Pennsylvania to France. But it's pretty cool that they're out there now. And he has a little distribution company. I think it's a Banos distro.
Banos.
But Banos,
cool.
I don't know. Being over in France, I kind of only try. Not only, but like my focus is mainly on the Pennsylvania scene. You know, when it comes down to like videos coming out, unless it's like a Nathan Williams part dropped or something, something big.
Yeah.
Probably like, unless it's the local scene or the homies or something like that, I'm probably not have the time to just sit there and watch everything anymore like I used to 10 years ago. Go online, just watch like every single video. But now I just don't have the time anymore, so I just kind of dial into what's going on in our scene, and that's pretty much as far as my span goes. My buddies Ed and Bob, they'll watch more like, I guess, mainstream BMX stuff to me, so they'll always like suggest things like, oh, you see this Corey Walsh video, you should check it out, and they'll send me, then I'll watch it, you know what I mean? But like, I won't go chase the videos down unless it's like a new Stink Pit video came out or something like that online, a web edit, then I'll go out of my way, because that's something that we want to get posted on the website as well. But like, if it's not in Pennsylvania, it's chances are it's just like a blip on the radar to me. It's here and gone.
It definitely helps when you have friends to tip you off to the good shit.
Yeah, I mean, the three of us, me, Ed, and Bob, we've been working together for the last year now, just like going all these awesome spots and getting lucky, riding some of the stuff that we've gotten to ride.
Mm-hmm.
You know, searching for spots and finding things. But those guys, like I said, you know, we all kind of like have our, so we all just send around links and stuff like that to, you know, did you see this? Did you see that? Or like,
yeah,
you know, whatever it might. And then when it comes to finding spots, you know, we'll like shoot around like a message like, check this out, you know, and kind of debate if we're going to go hunt it down or, you know, when we're going, what the mission is,
mm-hmm.
you know, all the details, you know, that people tend to overlook, like trying, you know, we got a mission tonight that we're trying to go on that could get a little bit hairy, but we've been looking at like our way in and like every little detail for it to try and get it done. So
that's cool.
Hopefully we make Dave.
Yeah. So how's the last year been for you? And now this is like our third time doing it, I kind of have the outline damn near memorized.
Yeah, I mean, I think I feel the same way everybody feels. That 2020's been pretty much a dumpster fire of a year with COVID and all that stuff. But I mean, for myself, I had a lot of like health issues that were going on that I tried to clear up. And this last year, having them all kind of come to a resolve has been like great for me personally. You know, it gives you a peace of mind that you're not worried about, you know, imminent doom or something like that. But I'd say the 4th of July weekend, like 2 years ago now, I had like a little lump that was on my throat. And at the time, my mom's husband is a doctor. You know, he figured right off the bat, he knew it was probably just an enlarged lymph node, nothing to worry about. But, you know, when that happens, it can also be an indication of cancer.
Right.
So at the time, I had no insurance. So we started going through the rigmarole of trying to get me like government assisted insurance, you know, Obamacare or whatever we could get. And my girlfriend went through the whole process, and you know, she got everything set up because that's beyond my comprehension. You know, it's much involved in trying to get something like that. And she, you know, made a million phone calls, did all the paperwork and everything, got it set up. So I got the insurance, and I was able to go see some doctors, and it was basically like right as COVID started to hit.
Right. Wow.
People like, you know, this was coming in from China and stuff like that, but like the United States shut down or anything like that yet. And I got a couple scans done. We were waiting for results, and then boom, like everything shuts down, and like I'm waiting for like literally like 3 months at a standstill. Eventually, I got in to see the doctors at St. Mary's by my house, and basically it was more worry than anything, you know, but it was a good thing, you know, because they caught on to other things that were going on. Like they thought that I had they didn't think, they found a kidney stone that had been, and
damn,
kidney stone like never ended up, like I didn't feel any pain or, you know, it wasn't passing or anything like that. And eventually it just disappeared on one of the scans. They're like, it's gone, you know, it just dissolved and went away apparently. So I'm sitting in fear of like having this kidney stone pass, and it was just gone the whole time, you know. But it took so long for me to get another scan done that I'm sitting there waiting for it for 2-3 months to happen, you know. Like this should only take like, I think it's like a week or two or something like that usually. Otherwise you might need surgery. I'm like, oh man, you know, this could be like a surgical thing, you know, and hair was gone the whole time. But they also caught on to a lump that was on my kidney, which brings you back to another fear of cancer, that it could be like renal cancer, you know.
Wow.
So the urologist for that, and it turns out that it was just a fatty lump in my kidney, nothing to worry. They're like, you know, it's extremely common, it's benign, it's not cancerous or anything like that. So basically I have to follow up with them in another year just to make sure it hasn't grown or it's not causing any pain or anything like that. But at a certain point, when this all first started happening, like I was really like feeling like shit because I had taken antibiotics after antibiotics, and it, you know, antibiotics are great, but they can also kill out bacteria that you need in your stomach. And that was to me to the point where like I was going home early from work, like I couldn't do the work because I was like kind of like not keeling over, but like my stomach was just so uneasy that like it's no way I was going to stand on my feet for 8, 10, 12 hours doing manual labor, you know. So eventually, once the antibiotics stopped, I mean, I felt like a world better, you know. But
Oh, that's good.
I think the biggest blessing, other than having, you know, clean bill of health now, is that I quit smoking like almost immediately, and now it's like, I want to say like a year and a half, coming up on a year and a half probably in February, something like, or January, somewhere around there. It should be about a year and a half now. But
Cool.
I mean, I kind of just like slowed down a little bit over the course of a few days. I didn't feel good the one day. I went to bed and I just didn't smoke after that, you know, which is
Just disgusted you that much?
I mean, I was, at the time, I was freaking out that I thought I was going to have like throat cancer diagnosis or something like that. And with my daughter, you know, I mean, you can't be worried about those kind of things and still continuing to put poisons in your body at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if this is the reality, you know, you have to start making those decisions that you're going to try and, you know, fight for your life or basically just keel over and die. And with a 5-year-old daughter, you know, I'm not just going to die. That's, you know, typically I'm not the type to just give up on anything, but if it's going to be something like that, hell no.
Right, yeah. Kind of just shaked your tree a little bit and got you to straighten it out.
Yeah, I mean, a couple months there, like, I was like seriously like scared that like this was going to be it. You know what I mean? I smoked for 24 years, you know, so, and I was a heavy smoker. I mean, like, so,
Reds?
Yeah.
Reds?
I was never a menthol guy. Like, I like coffee unflavored. I like my cigarettes plain, you know. I'm just that kind of, you know, just straightforward, you know.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to like designs and stuff like that, like, I've always been a fan of the, you know, keep it simple, stupid, you know, it's straightforward and not a lot of bells and whistles, you know, just like the point.
Right. So you just quit cold turkey and you were good after that.
I mean, pretty much. I wouldn't say cold turkey, but like I was like timing out my cravings and stuff. Right. Like, first it was like I was smoking like probably like a cigarette like every hour or something like that. Wow. So I did that for a while, and then I'm like, you know, I'm gonna do like a cigarette every hour and a half, and then 2 weeks later, like one like every 2 hours or whatever the case was. You know, so I was kind of already working on it when I just hit this point of like, you know, I didn't feel good the one night, and it was like, it's time to just make a decision, you know. So fortunately, it worked for me. I mean, I replaced smoking with eating, you know, so I gained like 30 pounds following me stopping. Yeah, but I mean, that's also good because I was always a pretty skinny guy to begin with, you know, and you're always like, you always stand to gain weight. So now, I mean, not only do I feel healthier, but I probably, like, weight-wise, I probably am a little bit healthier, you know, and obviously a year and a half into not smoking anymore, my lungs are definitely healthier. Although I ride my bike down the street, I'm still gasping for air. You know, I mean, it's a slow change, I guess, so much to the point, like anything, you don't really notice it until you turn around and look back a year and a half, and damn, dude, I can definitely notice it, like, I feel better, you know.
That's awesome, man.
It's, you know, from where I was a year and a half, 2 years ago, it's like, I feel incredibly better.
That's good. I'm glad you're all right. Glad you're in one piece.
Thanks.
No cancer issues for now, you know, like, that's awesome. That's all you can ask for.
No, and then, I mean, for right now, I've kind of stopped following up on all that stuff. I've just been trying to, like, keep track of my weight, just keep my dietary habits kind of normalized and stuff like that. But, I mean, maybe once the whole COVID thing's over, I'll go, you know, get, like, a once-over or something like that by a GP or, you know, whatever, family doctor. But, I mean, other than that, I had some, like, acid reflux issues and stuff like that. But even that seems to have pretty much died out. Like, the prescription they gave me ran out, and I just haven't gone back to get the refill for like a month now. So, and I haven't had any signs of it. I mean, I've taken like Tums every now and then, but you know,
awesome.
No medication. So hopefully that's clearing up.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Decent, man. That's crazy. And then also, you know, we were in the process of making the magazine when that shit all went down too.
Yeah.
I believe that's part of it, because I think we were getting close to, like, we were in the, like, the final draft series. I think I asked you, hey, did you get a chance to see that draft yet? And you're like, I might have cancer. I'll look at it when I get there or some shit. Like you were just shooken up a little bit, like you were just starting to go through that part, I think.
Right. Yeah, it's you know, everything kind of built up on me like really quickly. Like I said, like especially with my job, and then you know, COVID hit, my job died off like immediately because I was in an event rental company, and obviously the state of things, there are no events, you know, so
Yeah.
that pretty much was like almost immediate. As soon as things started shutting down, we're like, all right, we're probably gonna get like a day or two more, and like I came in, they're just like, no, we're shutting down like now, like everybody just basically finish up these 2-3 deliveries, go home, like, and that was it. I talked to them maybe twice since then. It's been just like silence, and they reopened back in June, but from what I've heard, it's like just a complete skeleton crew of like the dispatcher, the one guy that basically ran the office. They have like an anything guy who will like wash linens, you know, paint chairs, whatever it is that they need to do, go on the road. But I mean, the effect, I mean, I don't know if he got any like of the PPP money or anything like that, but like he's definitely like, I mean, you're talking about a multi-million-dollar business is like basically brought to a complete halt because of this. So I mean, and from what I understand, I mean, pretty much everybody there has either like moved on with jobs or gone on unemployment and are just like stuck waiting. I mean, the whole out there right now is just insane.
Yeah, and it looks like they're approaching a second lockdown, it seems, currently.
Yeah. In Pennsylvania, they just, you know, issued a bunch of new restrictions, which we were going to have a BMX day jam. You know, BMX falls on my daughter's birthday, so I never get to do like anything cool. Like when the street series was going on, I was in the delivery room with my daughter, so I'm like, it's kind of cool that she's born on BMX day, but also kind of guarantees it, like, you're not going to any BMX day jam.
Yeah.
Daughter's birthday. But we decided we were going to have one this year, got everything in order, and it looked like everything was getting better. You know, this was back in July. So it looked like everything was finally resolved, and we were going into a green phase and everything like that. And then bang, started putting restrictions back up and everything. And now that entire BMX jam, we still have like all the products sitting around. It's just been on the back burner because it's just, you know. We've talked with like people down at Poplar because that's where we wanted to have the event. We want to respect the space, you know, because they legitimized it and everything with SEPTA and like the, I guess, East Poplar Playground Committee or whoever's in charge there.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, we want to respect what they have going on. We don't want to just, you know, say screw it, you know, and have people risking their health. You know, but, you know, it's unfortunate that everything like that has to go on the back burner for a situation like this. But I mean, what can you do? You know, people's health is obviously a lot more important than just riding around in a little do-it-yourself spot, giving away some product. But hopefully once everything clears up, we'll get it done. I mean, we had some cool stuff lined up for it, which, you know, is still all in play. It's just sitting there waiting for
the right time
to be clear and us to be given the green light. But again, force it, and I don't want to go to another part of the city with the jam because like you could do a street jam or something like that, but like I want to try and, you know, use the platform to drum up some money for what they have going on down there, because like Galecki's been putting in work, you know, with the raising funds up, and Jersey Joe and all those guys.
Shout out to them.
We want to try and do what we can. You know, obviously we had the Poplar article in there in this magazine, but you know, it's an ongoing project, and it's one that's, you know, kind of interlaced between bike riders and skaters. So that's something that we definitely want to get behind. Those like it's a shame like what just happened with FDR and their coping. It's like I would love to raise money for those guys, but it's like on the same page. It's like it's such a hostile environment when the skateboarders show up at a place like that, and it's like, you know, I'm going to try and raise money for this and then get a bottle thrown at my head. Like, I don't avoid FDR, but like I don't go every week like I used to when I was younger. You know, that was like, every morning we would go down to FDR, and you were always there at like 5-6 o'clock in the morning. It was kind of like the general rule of thumb because I caught up in there. Yeah, it wasn't uncommon for people to get bottles thrown at them and, you know, whatever. But I've personally been lucky and never had an issue down there. So,
that's what's up. I mean,
but I've heard, you know, all the stories. What he's heard. I've been fortunate in Philly to not really have any problems like that. I mean, I tried a fence hop next to 3 Block years and years ago, And when we got there, I had set up, I basically was like running down the side of this building, and then the fence comes up with probably like a 3 or 4 foot gap to this little fence. And I think Fran wound up doing it before I even did it, didn't know about it, but I was going at it, and I had everything set up. So I told my buddy to get the camera out, and we couldn't find the battery. And we had just pedaled the 3 block from City Hall.
Oh my god.
The batteries on the bench or something back at City Hall,
No.
But like getting ready to back pedal all the way to City Hall, the battery's probably not going to be there,
Mm-hmm.
Kind of pissed off. I looked down in the grass, and there's the battery sitting there. It fell out of the bag. I'm like, fuck, man. I throw the battery to my buddy, and I'm like, just hit record, dude. And I cased the fence, just completely ate it, and rolled I just walked out my wrist, So I thought I was good. I hopped back over the fence. I'm like, I'm good, let's go. And I raced back up to it, just threw my bike in, because I could feel like as soon as I went to hop it, my wrist was like done for, So we're walking away, and I'm salty, man, because I just like my face first into the dirt, fucked my wrip up, the whole battery fiasco. We're walking the street, and this guy calls us. He's like, come back here a minute. So I look at my buddy, and I'm like, you want to go see what this guy wants? Fuck it, dude. So we ride back to see what he wants. He's like, I see you guys back here, doing your thing on your bikes and everything. It's like, you got to get the fuck out of here right now. Starts cursing us out. I'm like, dude, we were halfway down the block before you called us back here to curse us out.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it was just the most random thing. Like, we're on our way out. I had to literally pedal back like hundreds of feet for you to tell me to get the fuck out of there.
that was an odd flex. For sure.
It was. I mean, hey, whatever, man.
Yeah.
It could always have been worse. The guy could have pulled a gun. I mean, we had that happen out in Trenton. The guy pulled a gun on us.
Damn,
a couple of years ago. And yeah, he tried to jack us for a bike, and we were in, that project spot over there with the white ledges and everything. And the guy came up and like grabbed one of the bikes and pulled out a gun and everything. Holy shit, man! Are you serious? And somebody ran up behind him and just grabbed the bike and just got the fuck out of there. But,
no way! Wow.
Yeah, it was a crazy situation, man. Like we were in the middle of filming something, so like nobody even saw the guy walking up until he had the bike in his hand. He's like grabbing onto the holster, the gun in the holster. And we're just like, this guy a cop? Or like, what the fuck is going on? And he came out of nowhere, and like, yeah, I can't even remember who grabbed the bike, but it was a fiasco, man. Jesus. Like we all went, like, and I think there was like 10 of us or something like that. We all just like ran the fuck out of there. Just fast, but like, fuck this, man. But I mean, that's one of the spots where like I've heard about people getting their cameras stolen and bikes stolen and shit like that over there. So it's definitely one of the keep an eye out spots. But
yeah,
that's the way a lot of Trenton is, man. Trenton's a pretty hairy place.
Damn, dude. That reminds me of a story. I'll tell it real quick, and we can move on maybe to less negative stories. But this one, we were riding these metal ping pong tables in Southwest Philly, and they were near my house at the time. And me and my roommates, Ted and Kyle, and a couple other kids, we were like trying to find something to ride. Like we were trying to entertain guests. You want to take them to something good instead of like just a random flat ledge. So we take them to these ping pong tables, and there's a bunch of kids playing basketball, and we're like, there's more of them than there is of us, but maybe we can just ride this and it's not a big deal. And because we've ridden there before and had no issues, but this time around, like I stayed still. As soon as we got there, I sat there and just watched everything, because I was like, I don't know if I can ride under this pressure. So my buddy Kyle, he's grinding, and he goes to turn around to come back again, and I see like this like 10 or 11, 12-year-old kid just like winding up, like he's turning around like this, he's like riding with his head turned, and his head's turned away from the kid, and I see the kid just like winding up like with a fucking haymaker, and I'm like like before I could even say anything to him, he fucking popped him one, and then we all just bolted, and all these kids started running after us, and it was like, you think you're fast on a BMX bike until some kids really fucking run up on you, and you're like, shit. So we hightailed it out of there. It was probably the last time I ever rode that spot too.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I've heard a couple stories about people just mobbed on, chased by people through Philly. Like,
Yeah, got pay attention. Sometimes paying attention means avoiding eye contact too.
I mean, that's a lot of it, man. You just got to feel out your environment and know when it's time to fucking roll.
Yeah, hold them and fold them, right?
Yep, that's it.
So,
exactly.
Can you give us a brief history on like how RidePA first started and the history of it?
So, probably 20 years ago or so,
Wow.
It started with me and a buddy of mine, DJ Williams, and me and DJ were kind of like the only guys around at the time, at least that we knew in the Delco scene that were riding. And there was a whole scene there. We just hadn't found it yet. Like Conway, the Innovation guys were all from down there. The Infamy guys were from down there. There was a lot of little squads of guys down there. So we just hadn't found that yet, But, when we were starting to kind of learn things, we decided we were going to start making some little videos, and we would make a website, we had a couple of names that didn't stick. And then DJ, came up with the name RideBMX, and it was basically just straightforward. Like, again, like we talked about earlier, just, it's right to the point, no bells and whistles. You know exactly what by the name, so. And it was to a lesser extent, it was kind of like a homage to RideBMX as well, but it gave you the idea just going to focus on the Pennsylvania scene.
Right.
Static websites were, they ruled the internet. So even if you had content, it was like putting it up was pretty tedious. It was time consuming. It wasn't dynamic like these like WordPress websites are. It literally took you like hours in there, and then when you uploaded it, it was to one screen size. So if you had a 1024 monitor and it was sized to be 1200 pixels, you weren't going to see the whole website. Stuff like that. So
there was no such thing as responsive or anything back then.
Right. There was no responsive designs or nothing fluid or anything like that. It was all just stationary, static, non-dynamic websites.
Yeah.
But back then it was funny because everybody had them. And now that websites are just so much readily available and user friendly to the point where you don't even really need to code that much anymore. You can get these WordPress sites and just basically go through the customizer and make what you want. And back then, of course, none of that existed, but everybody had websites. Funny that now it seems like with the rise of social media, almost like nobody has websites. It's almost like we focus on the individual. As to before, if you wanted to get noticed in the scenes and stuff like that, you needed like a little crew of guys, or that's just the way it kind of seems, that everybody was in like a little clique of guys,
Yeah.
Basically, after a while, we started meeting other guys in the scene, and DJ unfortunately had like a number of injuries at times. So the RideBMX thing was pretty much short-lived. Like, we did like one video, the website was up for maybe a year or something like that, and then it all kind of went down when DJ got hurt. He's popped back in and out of BMX a couple times since then, and like right now he's back again, and he's got like this insane dream backyard ramp that he built during the whole COVID thing, and the ramp is insane, man. It looks awesome.
Dang.
But it's also really cool to see him back on his bike after all these years, and like he hasn't even like lost a step. Like, he's still out there tearing that ramp apart already, man. Around 10 years ago now, back in 2011, it had been like 10 years or so since RideBMX did anything. DJ was like, basically non-existent in BMX at the time. He really wasn't riding anymore or doing anything. So nothing happened with the name for years. And I had a couple little projects like Long Lane and stuff like that, but that was kind of like more like a crew focused thing. And I just thought it would be a good time with the way social media and everything was coming together to bring the RideBMX thing back. And it worked to the point where like now we kind of have like an outline of the entire scene. Like, before, we were just looking for guys in our local neighborhood to ride with and stuff like that. And now it's like we got guys all over the place contributing. We got guys out in Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, just all over Pennsylvania.
All the Bergs.
All the Berks. Yeah. But Pennsylvania has almost like an endless supply of just BMX talent. I mean, between photographers, editors, videographers, guys riding, girls riding,
Yeah.
spot. I mean, it's such a vast area that, like, I mean, it's always been one of the most historic cities and states in the world for BMX. So I mean, it just, I mean, this scene is everything to me as far as BMX goes. I mean, I might go out to Jersey to ride or like take a trip here or there, but it's always been Pennsylvania 100%. You know. So.
Yeah.
And then just all the groups out here is just so diverse. You know, I mean, you got like the chocolate truck guys, and then the stink pit guys, you know, and I mean, it's just all those groups still exist to this day, you know. And
yeah.
I mean, it's cool to see like the scene evolving now into the next generation, whereas like a lot of the guys that I was riding with 10 years ago are now, they're still riding, but there's this new generation of guys, and they're kind of, you know, riding together, you know. So it's kind of cool to see that dynamic going on.
Yeah. Yeah, bringing up the next generation for sure.
And then, I mean, our website, you know, now is doubled over into being like a magazine, which is something never really intended to happen. After we finished the Quaker State video, it just worked out so well that it seemed like the next logical thing to roll into was like a photo project of some kind, and that somehow just snowballed into becoming a magazine. And then I don't even really think it was supposed to go past the first magazine initially, but it just worked out so well that it just seemed like the thing to do is just keep it going.
Yeah, it's like, why not? Now that people know that they can contribute, it only gets better with each issue because it's more popular for people to consume it and to donate to it, or, you know, contribute to it.
And that's one of my favorite things about it, is just the ability to work with so many talented people. And now, like, it's humbling to see how far out it's getting. Like I said, like, we just sent copies out to France, you know, the Roddy guys do copies out in Japan for international distribution. And it's just funny seeing some of those addresses, you know, when you're located in Pennsylvania, you know, it's like, I'm sending this to Tokyo, Japan. I mean, but it also it speaks volumes about the lack of print media in BMX and the demand for it. You know what I mean? The guys in France, I mean, you know, they can't read English and they're buying the magazine, so I don't know how they're going to work that out. But
maybe they're bilingual.
And I'm all for the support, you know. But
wow,
it's humbling to see how far it's going, and you know how many people are into it and stuff.
It's amazing, man. Like, all the people, all the photographers that have contributed, it's like this shit wouldn't look so good without you guys, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, like, initially we were just like a news website, like kind of just filtering off what was already out there through those other crews and websites, you know.
Yeah.
And the mainstream stuff in Pennsylvania would get like posted on the website and stuff like that, but now it's like it's a much bigger goal of ours to just do like more original content. Like, we're still always going to, you know, report on what the scene is in the news and this video and that video and, you know, stuff like that, but yeah, pushing that original content it's everything right now. Like, you know, again, like, working with all these different talented people, and there's no way you can describe like when you put that thing that was an idea in your head into your hands finally, and all that hard work pays off. Yeah,
definitely. Shit. So you want to touch base on issue 3?
Yeah, I mean, that was it's funny because the first 2 issues took us, I mean, we banged one out the first year, one out the following year, and then this one took us the better part of 2 years to get done, because it just seemed like we hit wall after wall after wall. And then, you know, like we talked about, my health and everything put a damper on things, and then COVID, like, kind of the saving grace that got us to finish the magazine finally. We had some free time, you know, we got to like actually buckle down and, you know, communicate between the people behind the scenes and yourself and myself, and, you know, dial in everything that we needed to finish getting in. We had like last minute answer changes that all had to be proofread, slipped in, and then, you know, we talked about it online, but the part with where we overlooked the pages from the posh
Yeah.
higher that got cut off because you kind of get tunnel vision when you're looking at this kind of stuff. It's 64 pages of content, and it's a lot of material to read over and stuff. But we had some safeties in place to try and prevent that kind of stuff, and unfortunately, that one got by us.
Yeah.
So now we're trying to put more safeties in place, and like we discussed, we're going to bring Tasha in as a proofreader and to look over the content herself and sign off on it before anything goes to print, to try and prevent those kind of things from happening. But unfortunately, once it happens and it slips by us and the files are in the printer's hands, there's nothing we can do. We had no idea until the magazine was physically in Tasha's hand, and then she contacted me to say like 2 of the pages were cut off. And
yeah, that's heartbreaking, like
my heart immediately dropped into my stomach, like, damn.
Yeah, because I was so pumped. All right, so Tasha had her articles designed. Her spreads were probably the first things actually designed for the whole magazine, I would imagine, because it was once I saw.
Yeah, I mean, it was like right on top of it, like when those events had the Posh event happened, and then she had like the photos from Caddy she already had taken, so she was doing, and she, without hesitation, like banged her layouts out to the point where like I felt horrible that we were just sitting on the stuff for like a year and a half to begin with, and then on top of it, we dropped the ball cutting off the last 2 pages.
Yeah, and she did such a good job with those spreads that I was like, fuck, I got to really try and bring it with the rest of the work that I'm touching on my pages. And so I went down the rabbit hole of like really focusing and trying to dial in everything, and you and I are going back and forth on typos because you have an excellent eagle eye for that kind of stuff. And we ended up like you said, getting tunnel vision. We were just like concentrating so hard on like, all right, we got all the ads in, all right, we're gonna do this, and then this as like the order of how they go. And then the printer was like, the printer didn't want me to embed her files into our file. So
right.
I had to fully recreate her stuff. So she had to send me the pictures and the fonts, and I had to redo what she had already did, which it really wasn't a big deal for me because it was just like, all right, I just mindlessly copy what she's got.
Right.
And the fucked up part is I copied everything. I even copied the pages that were missing. But then when it came back, when I went to go port everything back in, I was just like not thinking, just, all right, that's 64 pages, and then just kept running from there. And then I sent it to you, and neither of us caught it, and it was just like, all right, I think we're good to print. And like when we sent it to print, I was like, man, this is probably like the coolest thing I've ever fucking done. Like, I'm really fucking pumped that we as a community put this together. This is awesome. And then when you tell me that 2 pages are missing, I was like, no, the one thing.
Yeah, I mean, especially like you stepped up the design game because of the layouts that she brought, And, I mean, obviously there was a lot more, I guess, graphic work in this one than there were in the previous 2 issues, And I was ecstatic on the way like the layouts look. Like the Messer article by far is my favorite article in there. As a father, like the theme of balance and just that carrying out through everybody's life. I mean, everybody's life is about balance to some degree. So I feel like everybody relate to that. But like the scales that you had in there to represent the balance, and the way the pages were like kind of like on an angle, cut in half with the green and white design and everything. It's just it came together so nicely, and like just to find out about that was just gut wrenching and like so disappointed. Tasha is a fantastic photographer, but like she also does amazing graphic work. Like she does all Addy and Posh flyers, and I think she's done some of the stuff for the Road to Recovery Jam as well. But she's just she's really fun to work with, and she's very professional, and I just feel horrible that happened. Fortunately, we released the pages online so people can go and check them out. That was probably the only realistic solution you can have in that situation. But
Yeah.
like I said, we're going to try and put some safeguards in place on this next one. Hopefully it never happens again. I mean, we had no first two, but I mean,
and shouts to her for being so cool about it. Like, you know, she put in a lot of work, and it's a bummer that those 2 pages didn't get sent to print, but I'm glad that she was, you know, so cool about it, and like willing to work with us on the next issue, and willing to be a part of this a little bit tighter, and a little bit to help us, you know, put out something better, you know.
Be more than willing to get, you know, further and further in the scheme of things with us, like as we're going. I mean, like, she's designed shirts for us now. She's taken photos from countless events and sent them over. So yeah, and I mean, I personally can't thank her enough for all her hard work. You know, and everybody's been involved, like all Nilo, Murphy, Kyle, Brendan Mulrooney, Josh McElwee, Matt, Skylo, just everybody that's been a part of this in any way. You know, all the shops that, you know, carry the magazine, like Berks and Action Wheels.
Hell yeah.
Been out in Pittsburgh, you know, they have a little shop in the park there that they carry the magazine. So I mean, just, you know, it's such a diverse scene, and there's just so much talent, like I said before, that, I mean, it's just really, it's humbling, and it's an honor to be able to work with all these people. Like, it still, to me, like, takes me back, man, like, looking at the social media stuff, seeing, like, there's, like, 6,000 people following us, man. I remember thinking, like, we'd be lucky to find 60 people that ride BMX bikes in Pennsylvania as a whole, you know what I mean? And now it's, like, thousands of people are behind this, you know? And, I mean, the support for the magazine, I mean, the magazine's just, I mean, when they go on sale, man, they just, like, the sales just keep coming in and coming in. It's just, it's so cool to see how many people are involved in this and how many people are into what we're doing.
Yeah, definitely. And I can't thank the community enough for supporting it and being into it and welcoming it, you know, because not everything's like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, there's always going to be people that are, you know, they want their sour grapes, so you just gotta turn the other cheek and, you know, whatever. I don't harbor any ill will against anybody in our scene. You know, the whole goal for me here is just to get stuff out there and, you know, promote each other and just show love, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I just think that we're all in this for the same reason, you know.
Yeah, and it's never been easier to have a website. So if you're listening to this and you have a little crew and you're thinking about making a website, it's you can have an Instagram account, but why not do a website? Why not have a blog? Why not have long form posts? Do a fucking bike check with your buddy, you know. At the end of the day, you're gonna learn skills.
Bring back web edits, man. That's one of the harshest blows, is that, like, people don't put web edits out, and that's, you know, when it comes to BMX, let's face it, that's a good portion of the content out there. If it's not video, it's photo, you know.
Yeah.
So, and even with the photography anymore, I mean, they're quicker to pull out an iPhone than they are to sit down and dial in a camera, you know, which is something that I'm trying to learn myself now, thanks to, like, D'Lo giving me, like, little tips and tricks here and there to try. You know, I'm getting a little bit better at it. I've always been a point and shoot guy, you know, but it's definitely, like, it makes you appreciate those guys' craft so much more, like, when you start actually playing with a real camera and, like, seeing all the settings and all the factors that go into, like, turning out, like, a really good photo. Just the slightest thing goes wrong and it's just, you know, it's blurry, out of focus, it's whatever, you know. So it's those guys are, like, mad scientists to me with that stuff, man, because I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but it's just, you know, I'm still kind of, like, swimming in it at this point. But you know,
damn,
I guess it's gonna be like anything else, just trial and error. I mean, that's how I taught myself to write coding for websites, is just trial and error.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy you taught yourself that shit.
I mean, it just comes from the whole RideBMX thing. Ultimately, just wanting to do something and not taking no for an answer, you know, over and over again and fail until I find them, make it work.
That's the BMX. That is basically you ever heard of mental models?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you applied this kind of mental model, like a samurai mental model, to this, that, or this problem or that problem. It's like you were applying the BMX mental model to learning code. Right. It's like Did you take a class? No. Did someone tell you? No. You just learn it yourself, like by trying it. And it's like, okay, so how do I learn a Smith to feeble on a ledge? You can watch all the videos on it you want, or you can just go try it and see what happens. You know, trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error. I mean, that was the biggest teacher for me and all that stuff. And it's like that with almost anything. I mean, like, I love to cook. I love to bake. All those things to me are the same exact thing because you're starting with nothing, you know, and you have to delve into it, man. You got to get your hands dirty and you got to be in the moment, you know. And it's the same thing as riding a bike, man. I mean, you got to be in that moment, you know, and focused and you know, all determination and like you wanting to get it done. So it really is like it just carries over. It's the same thing, you know, when I was like younger and really into playing guitar and stuff like that. And I mean, you get what you put in, man. So you know, if I went to a website that looked great, man, I knew I was gonna have to sit there and I was gonna have to fail over and over again before I got it to work right, you know.
Yeah.
The fortunate that stuff is in this day and age, man, everybody's encountered whatever problem you have, so you could just simply Google it and find the answer, and not find the answer, you'll find 5 different answers because there's one correct answer. You know, it's what works best for you. So
it's crazy like that, right?
Yeah, it is. And sometimes it's nerve-wracking to the point where it's like, I wish there just was one correct answer, you know, but it's always like, it's whatever works best for you. So ultimately, you just have to, you know, it's all up to you.
Yeah. And staying open-minded to learning, I think that's another crucial part of it, because it's like, life doesn't get any easier. You're going to have to keep learning shit, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, and as far as that stuff goes, I mean, it doesn't hold still, you know?
Yeah.
But you can only backwards compatible something so much, you know, before it's just obsolete. You don't do the dynamic thing anymore. I mean, you can for, you know, if you want like a welcoming page or something like that, but, you know, you have to grow with the way the technology does as well. I mean, that's the way the world moves, and it's not going to stop just because you don't want it to. It's the same thing with, you know, when you hear, you know, the salty mid-school guys talk about the internet and stuff like that. You know? Like, it's a gift and a curse, man. I mean, it you know, like I said years ago, I thought like finding a couple guys in our town that rode was like the end all, you know what I mean? And here we are with like 6,000 people following this platform, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's like the main point is to try and, you know, keep it positive and keep it together. You know, not everybody gets along, but you know, you gotta try.
Yeah, I mean, that was always the thing with RideBMX for me, was that I didn't let any of that stuff affect me, man. You put out a video, it was going up, you know. You got a photo, going up, you know. None of that bullshit matters, man. We're all in this for the same thing, you know. We all get the same kicks off the same thing, so you know, there's going to be that salty dude there, man.
There's always a salty dude.
There's always a salty dude.
Yo, so you know that Christmas video I just posted?
Yeah.
So Ride posted it, and I was like, oh, cool, like, damn, like, I'm getting noticed for my bike riding, which I never thought in a fucking million years that my bike riding would be on anybody's radar, you know. With I've always made it a point to kind of show off my friends. Like, look how cool Ishan is. Look how cool Lawhead is. Look at this big rail Shiloh did. It's never necessarily like, look how good I am. It's more like, here's what I can do. And what I'm
the same way. I mean, you won't see me as much, you know.
Yeah.
Like, if you see me on like the gay stuff, it's because somebody else put me up there. Like, it's definitely not me.
Now, what I thought this was funny, since I'm basically a mid-school dude, is like somebody commented on the Ride post and tagged some dude, and you know, a couple comments in, they're like, I was doing this 10 years ago, and I wanted to comment on it like, I was doing this 10 years ago too. Like, bro, I'm not some new school kid. I've been here doing this shit. So, and the thing is like, that guy's, how would that guy know? I'm just some random face he's never seen before. And it's like that weird, like, I've always been doing this attitude that a lot of bike riders kind of approach other bike riders with. It's like this weird, like, chest puffing thing that a lot of people carry with them into BMX, and it's like, I didn't send that to Ride and be like, you should seriously post this. Let's collab. Let's build. No, they posted on their own accord. It's like, so, and then I kind of wanted to be snarky, and I'll share this little bit on the podcast just because it's a podcast and maybe not that many people listen to it, and this will be like a little tidbit for them. But I wanted to comment on it like, I'm sorry, I ain't seen anybody else peg a bottle cap. And I've been actually actively trying to give free stuff away to somebody who does, and no one has. So I felt like commenting that, but I didn't. I was like, that might be a little bit, the chest puffy thing I'm not trying to do,
Yeah. I love that video, though.
Thanks. I want to do a new one eventually with, like, more dinks in it and everything, but down the road.
I always loved like that. There was I can't remember who. I know Josh Thayer was in it, but there was that Grind Lab Christmas video years ago.
Yeah, McLovin made that, I think.
Big Jordan was in it, Josh Thayer, and a couple other people. But I will still, to this day, like, go back in the archives and watch that video just randomly because it's just how good it is, and the way, like, it's just, the Christmas theme and the way they had, like, lights in it, and trees, and, like, the music and everything. It was just, it was awesome. So,
that's a good point.
But still, every time Christmas comes around, I go back and, like, watch that video. And I've been watching this. I'm probably going to do it after this.
Nice. And that's the thing, is, like, there isn't themed videos as much anymore. It's like, check a solo edit, another solo edit,
Right, yeah. And, I mean, like I said, I miss, like, the whole crew atmosphere, Not that it doesn't exist anymore, but it's just not,
like,
it's not once was, So they kind of more like everybody's more dialed into their own content and promoting themselves through their social media, and
Yeah, and I will shout out Dig BMX on this because I feel like I keep seeing, like, random crews and random names I've never seen before coming across on their YouTube channel. I'm like, awesome. It sounds like they're just, like, they're scraping up, all the people over there wherever they're coming from. They're cultivating unheard of names and shit we've never seen before.
Right. And a lot of that, I feel like, is probably because they're a little more Euro based than like.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
BMX and stuff like that. So, like, I mean, I don't know a lot of the guys over there unless it's like a big name,
Yeah.
So I'm sure that they have, just like we have here, the same thing, just all those little crews, and it's that way throughout, a lot of the United States. Texas has an incredible scene. Florida has an awesome scene. Obviously, the coast. I mean.
Yeah.
It was always kind of funny to me that there weren't more, like, not RideBMXs, but like that kind of model of a platform, like more people trying to show off their scene, like in the same fashion that we do. Is like, that was kind of the whole point, was that, like, we were aiming more towards I guess you would say, like an intermediate, or like, like a novice kind of riding. And obviously we do, like, the mainstream stuff, but, like, that stuff's always picked up by Dig, Ride when we go around now, our BMX, and, BMX unions, so I always like focusing on more of that underground stuff anyway, just because, those are the guys that need the shine, It's like the top guys out there, they don't need the shine from RideBMX,
right?
But, like, those websites might see, whatever edit we posted, and that was the case a lot of times. It's like the videos that we posted would wind up on those other platforms and stuff, because they would, when they had RSS readers, they would lock our feed and stuff like that. So, and I would do, whenever everybody had websites, I would put everybody's RSS into my feed reader, and then the news would just pop up, and I would just carry it right over, like, all right, here's what we're posting next on RideBMX, and that's done. And it's funny because there was I couldn't even keep up with the posts. There was just so much of them coming in, to the point where now it's like I could go an entire month where, like, nothing happens. Like, nobody's putting out web edits. Nobody's really taking high resolution photos. It's all Instagram stuff. And once Instagram gets a hold of it, they chop it down to 600 pixels, which is like nothing for a website. mean, it again, it's like the internet is just, it's got its pros and its cons, you know.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. Like, it's never been easier. Like, remember when the internet first came out and how like freeing it was. Like, you can have a website, you can email other people, and like how cool it was in the utility sense. And it's like now it's even easier, but we're all funneled into social accounts one way or another instead of like, oh yeah, just throw a site up, do a blog, do a bike check, do whatever you want, upload photos from the weekend. I used to do that. I used to love doing that. Like, and I always hated especially when like, phones sucked for the longest time. Like, not just taking photos, but looking at anything on your phone. It sucked. The screen is so small. When you see a photo sequence of like anything, it sucks to look at on a tiny ass screen. Even if you can zoom in, it's like looking at this shit huge on your computer is fucking bomb. And some people
right, especially
care,
like from older phones, like I'm looking at stuff from like an HTC Hero I had 10 years ago, and I'm like, dude, this looks fucking horrendous. Like, I can't even tell what's going on in the pictures, versus today's iPhones with fucking 4K video on them and shit. Like,
yeah, now it's pretty sweet.
yeah, I mean, it's funny because before everybody would carry around the tag cams and all that stuff, and the VX1000s and all that stuff. Now everybody just has it in their iPhone. So why bring it out?
Yeah, one way or another you can film. There's no excuse to not do a video.
Like, print media is dying, because why bother to invest in it? When everybody wants that just instant gratification rather than to wait it out.
Yeah, and also it's more tied into metrics too. So it's like if you paid $30,000 for the back page ad to a ride, you don't know if you ever see that $30,000 again. But if you paid $30,000 for Instagram ads, you can see where every dollar came back to you,
right,
or didn't come back to you, but you can see it, which I get it. Like, people want control of their money, I guess,
It's a shame though, because when you look at the free market that Instagram had, it's obsoleted now by that stuff. The fact, and I knew it was coming, and it's funny to see people kind of talk about it. When they're like, oh, my stuff doesn't get seen the way it is, the way it previously was, because now they have these paid for sponsored ads and stuff, and it's like, well, the minute they introduced that, you knew they were going to take precedence over everything else. And if they're giving Instagram money, like, obviously your content that's not giving them money is not going to be priority. So it was just affected. It's like, it's almost like them sticking you to open up your pockets. Like, for the stick, like, if you don't give us the money in your pockets, nobody's going to see yourself in that area. You can't make any money.
Yeah,
so,
that's why I'm kind of like taken back that I've grown the Yaz as big as it is. It's like 2,000 followers. I'm just like, I've never paid for an Instagram ad. I think I may have paid for one like once, like 2011 or some shit. But like, that's all organic growth, because like I know as soon as I start paying for stuff, they're gonna like nerf my shit. Be like, yeah, you need to pay for more. And it's like, I feel like if I just post stuff that people want to see and share, it's gonna spread whether Instagram likes it or not.
Yeah, and that's the way it is with RideBMX. I've never purchased any ads or anything like that. I wanted it to be organically grown on its own, and that's exactly what it's done, and it's worked out,
And that's huge.
It's also easy to see that people that depend on selling their product through a platform like that, why they're, pissed off. I mean, just look at all like the stuff with big tech right now. Like, I can't remember how many. I think it was like 28 states or something like that came out the other day talking about busting up Facebook because they have a monopoly on the social media stuff, and it's crazy, man. Like, I watched a testimony with him, and they were asking, like, do you think like Facebook is, these social media tools are like addictive platforms and stuff? And he said no. And, like, the guy from Twitter said absolutely. It's like, conflicting points of view, but I would argue absolutely addictive. How could you not? It's everywhere you look. It's somebody's got their face in their phone.
Yeah, and even in my own browsing, it's weird. because like I'll tap on Instagram and it's like, say I'm underneath the account and I'm like looking at the feed and I'm like, damn, this post is awesome. Damn, this post is awesome. Damn, that post is awesome. Like, but after a while, I'm like, I gotta go fucking do something. Like, I gotta go. Like, you can only get so stoked to ride and not ride for so long. Like, how many cool clips can I swipe through like this before I do something else? I get desensitized. You know, what do you like? They've programmed it to be so addictive. It's like you gotta really be cognizant of how to pull back off of it somehow.
One of the things that was always a point to me with the whole social media and BMX thing is just how fast the progress is going, and the end all, man. Like, I mean, you can only progress so much until you basically hit a wall. You know what I mean? Like, you can't go any further. I feel like not that I feel like there's like an end point for BMX, but like, you know, eventually you're going to set the bar, and it's just becoming unrealistic, and that's kind of what's happening, man. I mean, to the point where, like, you know, 20 years ago, you had to wait for a props to come out or a magazine to show up in your mailbox to see what was going on.
Yeah, I heard Ruben invented a rodeo grind.
Tomorrow, a 12-year-old is doing it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's for like an instant, you know? So, I mean, the level of riding right now is just unreal. Like, if you told a mid-school guy 20 years ago about some of the tricks that were going down now, they'd never believe you know? I mean, I remember when thinking, like, ice pick 180s were, like, the impossible trick, you know? And now it's like, dudes are doing off-burted down rails and kinked rails. And, like, it's just insane. Like, the level of progress. But, I mean, yeah, pros and cons, man.
Yeah, definitely.
That tangible media, man, there's nothing like having that magazine in your hand, you know, or that DVD, or, you know.
Because if your internet gets cut off, what else you got?
Can't replace it. I mean, I love having both formats. I love the digital and the print for RidePA, you know. It lets us dabble in the immediate and then, like, you know, the stuff that's really probably going to last longer, because with the internet, I mean, you post that kind of stuff up and within a week, people, you know, maybe they'll go back and watch an edit or something like that, but, you know, it's just here today, gone tomorrow type stuff, you know.
It's permanently up there, but
like,
it's gone.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy, especially when you look at the level of dudes, like, just throwing, like, seriously, like, banger clips on Instagram. Like, it's like, well, when your video comes out, what's the bar there? Like, you know, like, you're gonna have to with it if you're throwing all this stuff on Instagram to have, like, you know, some wild banger for your last trick for, you know, a legitimate video part. But again, you know, people just aren't making that kind of stuff the way they used to.
Yeah, and hopefully they keep trying to push it out, though.
Yeah, I mean, at least we will, anyway. I mean,
yeah, we will.
We like putting the magazine together, you know, in those big projects. Like, after, you know, we got through the whole Quaker State thing, it was like, you know, everybody kind of works well together, you know, so let's just keep it going. So,
yeah.
You know? And, you know, the reception for the magazine has been just incredible compared, like, I mean, everybody pretty much, like, knew about the website, would use the website, you know, but since that stuff has died down, the magazine has been, like, probably more the primary focus now. Like, I mean, but also, you know, there's so much involved in it when it comes down to, like, writing all the questions for an interview, you know, getting the responses, the proofreading everything a million times, looking for punctuation errors, and just, you know, 64 pages of content for all three magazines now. It's just, it's a lot.
Definitely, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out to shoot the shit with me, and I'm glad we got to catch up and successfully podcast about this. The internet was pretty solid.
Yeah, not bad this time.
Yeah.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah, it's funny. It cut out right when you said charm. Oh my god. Oh, the fucking internet, man.
Yeah, what can you do?
I don't know, not much. But I do wanna touch base on this little video that I'm working on that includes a bunch of footage that you donated over. I'm really excited about how it's coming along. Your whole section looks like a vacation section, because all your clips are like some exotic spot.
Yeah, I'm more inclined to sitting on clips. You know, it doesn't bother me. Like I'm fine with that. You know, we
Yeah.
used to sit on clips for years for videos that were never coming out anyway. You know, but
Yeah.
I'd rather put my clips towards projects like that because, like I said, I can't bitch about it and not do anything about it. Like,
Yeah.
I would rather see something like that than have 5 or 6 fucking Instagram clips that get a couple likes or whatever. Like, I'd rather them be in a web edit. It's like I can go back and watch it years from now. You know, I don't want to go to an Instagram feed to find it or whatever. You know, it's all the better to me.
Yeah, and it can always hit Instagram after. You know, that's the other thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, all the stuff that we put in the magazine, pretty much, you know, we do the digital versions for free anyway, you know, so eventually it all makes its way on there between the people that did the trick, the photographer that shot it, and us putting the digital stuff out. It all makes its way online eventually.
Yeah, so, you know.
But I'm looking forward to that video, though, to see everybody else's stuff. I mean,
yeah,
I'm definitely going to be into it, so.
Last night I cut... Oh, man, I'm excited. Last night I cut it. I basically cut all the heads and tails off the clips, and I have it in order of people, like the order of the sections, but I don't have it finalized at all, no music to it. And I just watched it through yesterday, and I'm like, I just kept on like making up songs in my head, like this is a little bit of a bopper here that we got. Like, I thought it was going to be like, here's 3 old clips, they're kind of just okay. Like, I kind of felt like that was going to be the vibe of the video. Like, I don't know how.
Right.
And that was because I'm basing it off of memory of what I remembered I was sitting on. Because I'm sitting on clips of just about everybody. And these are clips that I filmed when I was out riding, you know, and had my camera out. Because if Conway comes and Conway brings his camera and he's trying to get something done, unless he wants an alternate angle, you know, I'm letting him do what he wants to do, you know. He comes ride Lebanon with me, then it's like, oh, you know, let me get a clip for this. You know, like, it's like a sharing thing. Like, let's get a clip for that. All right, cool. So it's super exciting because it feels. I went through the YouTube, and the last time I put out like a real riding video was 3+ years ago.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I mean, the slowdown is everywhere, man. Like, it's.
Yeah.
But it's good that you get one out. I mean, I can't wait to see it. And then Stink Pit 6, from what I hear, is down. Those guys have like the little premieres. So when when COVID allows, Conway already told me that they're going to try and do like a legitimate premiere. But
yeah, they've been working on that for a while.
Those guys I'm excited to see that. And you know, everybody's been hyped for Chocolate Truck 2, so hopefully that's coming soon too.
Stink Pit 6, Chocolate Truck 2.
I'm definitely looking forward to content from everybody, you know. And, you know, some of the other guys that aren't really doing anything right now, or that we don't suspect are going to hopefully pop up with some stuff. I mean, you know, there's so many people out on our scene, so I mean, it's, you know, it kind of stinks right now because Instagram has like these restrictions on like hashtags, so I can't even see what's going on the RideBMX hashtag, which is like where I pull most of the Instagram content. So it's been like slow, but I can't access it because of the election bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, whenever they open that back up, I'm sure I'll be put there again. But until then, it's just a stream of, you know, content that's not chronological, so I can't see what's new. You know.
Yeah, it's like only if somebody tags you can you see it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not going to scroll endlessly for an hour to find a clip from this week. It's just a mess. So hopefully they get that fucking thing off of there soon.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's like Instagram was dead 10 years ago when Facebook bought it, in my opinion, but it's like, okay, so the feed's no longer chronological, so time doesn't matter, and then now the hashtags don't matter, so what the fuck are you all posting on this shit for anymore? It's ready to expire.
I'd like to have that, like the website, man. I love having the website as that fallback because, I mean, look what happened to MySpace. I mean, their bubble popped pretty much overnight, you know what I mean? Everybody just like migrated over to Facebook, you know, but like when the bubble finally pops, it's good to have that backbone that's always going to be there. Like,
totally.
site is, you know. So I mean, even if the social media goes away, the website's always going to be there. I mean, I tend to do it like every 3 months or so because I don't pay for the entire subscription for like an annual subscription or anything like that. But you know, it makes it more affordable for me because this whole thing's like a labor of love. But like, you know, whatever we make off of it goes back into it, you know. So,
exactly. Yeah. So, where can, if anybody's listening and are not familiar with it, where can they follow you? Where can they check this shit out? It's RideBMX.com, right? Yeah.
It's the website address, and then pretty much all the social media is just at RideBMX, you know, Facebook.com, RideBMX, Twitter, RideBMX, it's all the same, yeah.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, thank you for coming on, and is there anything else you'd like to mention or anything like that?
I think that's it. I just want to say thanks to everybody for, you know, supporting the website, the magazine, and the social media accounts, and sticking with us through everything. And, you know, we can't do it without you guys. I mean, you're where the content comes from. You're the audience, you know, so without, you know, everybody in this scene doing what they do, we wouldn't even be here. So absolutely. I just want to thank everybody for, you know, the opportunity to have a platform like this for everybody, you know, and kind of allowing me to be this diplomat that gets to go through all these different channels and different people and get to work with them. So I just want to thank everybody. You know?
Hell yeah.
It's all for the scene.
Definitely, man. Thank you everybody for listening. Go check out RideBMX, and maybe I'll eventually be able to talk correctly.
I've been working for the devil too long. I've been working for the devil too long. Yeah. You see, I prayed on things, and then I prayed on them. And I took it to the corner, God paid off then. The destruction wasn't even on my radar then. And my heart was black, it was Darth Vader then. It was drums to the bums, G-packs to the OGs. The money came to me, I sat back with my coldies. Money changed hands and moved on like a cold breeze. And I ain't give a fuck about death or an OD. Mommy always in my ear, saying that I didn't care. But I ain't going back to being broke like this was yesteryear. The plan is to try to be out in less than a year. No drugs, no thugs, no weapons in here. You see, I'm trying to get out, man, but I feel trapped. What employer gonna hire me when I sell crack? I'm not fully rehabilitated, I fell back. And regret is a motherfucker, run, tell that. I've been working for the devil too long. I've been working for the devil too long. Tempt us, lead us to the edge. Watch the wise turn into fools. The greatest lie ever been told is the one closest to truth. I've been working for the devil too long. I've been working for the devil too long. I'm gone. Yeah, you see, I prayed on things, and then I prayed on y'all. My intent was to never get paid off, y'all. When I was young, I saw politicians of all stripes, but all I saw was lies in their eyes, and it's not right. I said when I get older, I'm gonna change shit. Take the welfare system and rearrange shit. Years later, I'm quietly moving up the ladder. Trying hard, realizing that it doesn't matter. My wife told me, baby, money doesn't buy elections. Money doesn't buy votes, it just buys attention. I kissed her on her head and told her she was right, but she couldn't understand and see the coldness of the plight. Couldn't understand why it's so cold for me at night. Cause political bribery just hold me in a vice. But there's always implicitly some string that's attached by a motherfucker think he got wings on his back. You ain't an angel, pop, you working for the devil. The nightmare of money to lead would be a rebel. I did all of you dirty, so I should've gone to jail. I took your fucking government and put it up for sale. Look, American democracy has been hacked by the corrupt paradigm, that's a supreme fact. And every word that I said in this song, I've been working for the devil too long, and now I'm gone. I've been working for the devil too long. I've been working for the devil too long. Tempt us, lead us to the edge. Watch the wise turn into fools.